So the plan I go through in pre-market, it's very simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it. I do the same thing every morning. I have the same routine. I go through the list of stocks that I normally trade. I don't deviate away from that list. I don't really scan for stocks either. I don't look for like the most active, the most volume, the most percent gainers. I'm used to trading the same 10, 12, whatever stocks on a daily basis. I know how they trade. I know they're all going to have liquid options. I know they all work really, really well with supply and demand. So I really just only stick to those stocks. I have multiple monitors, so I have 6 different monitors. So I have the capabilities of putting different price charts on different monitors. So on 2 of my monitors, I have a 6 chart layout with no pre-market. That's pretty much my main trading stocks: the Apples, the Facebooks, Netflix, the S&P 500. And then my one other screen, I have an intraday chart, which is with pre-market on, 5 minute and 15-minute charts. But I'm going to record this video acting like I only have one monitor, which is this main screen right here. And this is the way I would personally do it if I had only 1 or 2 monitors. So I have a layout with a 5, a 15, a 30, and a 1 hour chart. But you could extend this little dropout here to the left. This is for Thinkorswim only. And it's going to pull out a little info tab. And you could put a watch list on here. So I have my watch list right here linked to number one. And my 4 main trading charts are also linked to number one. So all I have to do is click one of these and it's going to switch all 4 charts with whatever stock I'm clicking. So I always start with the ES, and let's go in on demand right now because at the time I'm recording this, it's a weekend. So I want to act like I'm actually half hour before the market's open and I want to chart some zones that I'm looking for the current day. So I just go down this list. It's very simple. Go down the list. I click every stock. I go through the larger time frames, starting at weekly, and I go down the list to all the way to an intraday chart, and I plot every single supply and demand zone that the stock is near. I will also remove old supply or demand zones the stock is not near or used before, just to eliminate a lot of noise from my charts. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll click on any of these charts. If you right click it, I maximize the sell, so I only see one stock here. Now I'm going to make sure I'm on the ES, the S&P 500 future. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually remove all of these studies. So clear drawing set. And what I'm going to do is, this is exactly the plan. This is the exact routine I do every single morning. So I start on the weekly. Now I'm on demand, so this is obviously not live data because I want to illustrate like we're about to see the market open in a couple minutes. So right now I see weekly supply. What I do is I make this pink. And what I think is important is to lower the transparency. I make it 75 just so you could see the box transparent and you can see the candles behind it. If you don't have it transparent, the candles, you're really not going to see as clear. So right off the bat, I have a weekly supply. I know this large box right here, this 200 something point box is weekly supply. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a daily. I'm going to look for daily supply and demand zones. I don't see any daily zones in the weekly supply. I do see daily demand right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a box. Mark this as daily demand. I see also another daily demand zone right here. So now I have 2 dailies. Now I got dailies out of the way, I'm going to go to 4 hour. First, I'm going to look at 4 hour demand. I don't really see anything in the close approximate area. I do see 4 hour demand right here where my cursor's at. I'm not going to draw a box here, and the only reason why I'm not going to draw a box here is because I don't want tons of boxes on my screen. I don't want tons of price levels. It just causes too much noise for you to get overwhelmed with, or for me at least. I get overwhelmed when I see a lot of lines and boxes on my charts. So I'm just going to remove this. I'm going to be aware. You could set alerts. I'm just going to know that there's 4 hour down here. Price is 100 points above it, so the chances of us coming down to this 4 hour in a straight shot is pretty slim. We're going to hit this daily first. So if we start projecting this daily and breaking below it, then I'll know to chart this 4 hour. So I don't really see anything close in the 4 hour demand area. I'm going to go to a fresh 4 hour zone, and I know right here we have 4 hour supply. So I'm going to make this a price level. The reason why I'm going to make this a price level, I'm going to rename it 4 hour and make it pink. The reason why I'm going to make this a line and not a box is because I don't want to have, a box inside a box. It's just going to cause, like I said, too much noise. So if you have a line here and price is coming into this 4 hour zone, best thing you could do is just go into a larger time frame and be like, hey, this 4 hour starts at 29.43 and ends at 29.80 area. So they just serve as guidelines. You don't have to draw boxes. You could draw lines. So now 4 hours done. Go to 3 hour. We have 3 hour demand forming right here. It hasn't formed yet. We have to close high. Don't see anything else besides, down there. So I'm going to go to 2 hour. And also keep in mind, too, like, you guys might find different chart patterns, different trend lines. So you guys can draw different chart patterns. It doesn't have to be just supply and demand zones. As you guys can see, this was a nice 2 hour zone. rally, base, drop, and in pre-market we came in the zone, rejected it, about 20 points, and now we're bouncing. So now I have a 2 hour. Don't really see anything. Gonna go to 1 hour. So I'm just going through. I'm browsing through my time frames, marking my zones out. Removing old boxes that I don't really care about, labeling them. Make sure you label your boxes. So if you want to go back and see what time frame it is, it's labeled. So you're not browsing through them all intraday, getting confused. So once I'm done with the S&P, I'm gonna keep moving down the list. I'm gonna go down, draw my zones out. What's a cool tip about this is that sometimes you're gonna have pre-market data on your stocks, not your futures. So the easiest way to do it is go to equities and turn it off. But there's a little shortcut. So if you go back to equities and you hit this little arrow right here, hit apply. And what that does is it'll put in the style section, it'll put a little shortcut to hit show extended hours. So if I hit that, my extended hours are gone. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually, let's see, I'm gonna go to a larger time frame. Don't see anything here. I'm gonna go to now a daily. We have drop, base, drop, supply at 136.45. I think we rejected it yesterday. Yeah, so this was a daily supply. We rejected it pretty well yesterday. So this was a great trade. So now I'm on daily. I'm gonna go to 4 hour. We have 4 hour demand, which bounced once, bounced the second time. I'm just gonna keep this on my chart, just because I know it's bounced us once, twice. It's pretty strong, even though it's multiple tests. But most likely we're gonna come down and retest the zone again because of the daily rejection of yesterday. So now I'm on 4 hour. I'm just gonna keep going down the list. It's simple. So we have 3 hour up here. A tip also, if you're charting with pre-market off, you really have no awareness of where the stock is opening up today. So up here you have B and A right next to the symbol, bid versus ask. So you'll see the bid is 138.65 and you'll see the ask is 138.80. So that just tells me the stock is opening up in this area right here. So we're only 9 points away from this 3 hour supply, and we're above this daily demand, this daily supply. So I'm just gonna remove that, and I'm gonna mark this 3 hour out, even though it's marked already, just to keep an eye on. We're not too far away from it. Just keep going down the list, keep browsing through your stocks. These stocks right here, if you guys want to write them down, copy them. These are the only really stocks I do trade. They work the best. They have the most liquidity. My statistically, these have been the most probability of working. They're the most consistent out of all the other stocks. I know you guys like trading AMD, Snapchat, Shopify. Those still work. This strategy works in any market, but this works for me. This is what has worked for me. I've made a lot of money trading these stocks, and I've lost money trading other stocks. This just fits my personality. I know how to trade these names because I've been trading these same names for the past 3.5 years. But what's also another good tip is that throughout the day, don't subject yourself to only trading these zones you marked in pre-market. So if you follow the pre-market plan and stuff like that, that's fine. But an hour into the market, 2 hours into the market, you're going to see new zones that form intraday. So those zones that formed intraday, you can mark out as valid supply and demand zones if they're a valid candle structure that we look for. So don't stop yourself from drawing zones as the market is going on just because you have zones formed pre-market. There's been many times where supply is formed 3 hours into the market and it gave us great end of day short opportunities. So always be scanning through your intraday timeframes, your 30s, your 1 hours, your 2 hours, your 4 hours as the market's going on. If you're ever bored or just want to scan for different things, go through your timeframes on different stocks and you'll find zones that form at 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You'll find different zones. So always go through your timeframes every 15, 30 minutes whenever, you want to scan. Just browse through different time frames. You'll be shocked to how many zones form intraday that you could be taking good scalping opportunities or good little day trades based off of. So always look for zones. Don't subject yourself to only look and draw zones in pre-market or after hours.